Meet me. Welcome back, boys, to another Squirrely Hero review. Today we're going to be talking about Milim. I promised you guys this would be coming, so here we go. You guys all know the format. We're going to go over the skills, the builds, a quick arena showcase, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's get started. Alright, so skills. First of all, we have Dragon Dive. She punches you in the face. It does pretty good damage, and it gives you a self-attack buff, but importantly, it also has a soul burn that gives you an extra turn. So the significance of that is that it's kind of like a Tomoka in a way, right? Except you need Tagahells. You basically soul burn, and then you can go right into the S3, so you can rip it with the attack buff. So pretty good S1. S2 is, like the X factor in her kit. You could see it's designed to kind of counter Landy. So at maximal has a 100% chance to grant Dragon Eye. So what the heck does Dragon Eye do? Well, if you have Dragon Eye, it dispels stealth from all enemies. So anything like Guiding Light, you still can't hit Steny though, because it's not a buff, it's permanent stealth. And this ignores effect resistance, so there's no way to get 15%ed on that stealth removal. If you have Dragon Eye, all stealths will always be removed. And also, the buff gives her an innate 20% hit chance and 20% evasion, which means she's decent against evasion heroes as well. And like most special buffs, it cannot be dispelled. Also, an important part here is her Dragon Buster. When she has 5 focus, she unleashes an extra AoE attack that removes 10 souls from the enemy and actually does, not mind-blowing, but pretty damn solid damage. So let's go into her S3 and then you'll get to see the Dragon Buster. The S3 is just like her nuke ability, single target, and extincts them when they die. So it's a decent like RB counter or anything against a revive team. It also gives her evasion for 3 turns. And it also ignores Aureus, which is very helpful if you're trying to kill something like a Landy in the opener. So obviously this is like a deletion move, right? You're trying to use this to delete something and make sure that they never come back. But let's use it. The animation's not that impressive because they put her animation onto her Dragon Buster. But because she had max focus, she unleashes this AoE attack. And this does pretty solid damage. So those are her skills. Just an overall DPS kit, not really utility outside of removing stealth. Let's move on to the builds. Alright, so how do you build Milim? As you can see, for the purpose of this video, she's at plus 13. This has screwed me over in RTA before, but I don't use her all that much, so I'm okay with it. But, see, she's on plus 30 Tagahells, around 3,700 attack, 247 speed, 100% crit chance, and 259 crit damage. Mostly purple, as you can see, so you can do better on this gear. If anything, I would want to slow her down by like 15 speed and get her to more like 300 crit damage. But basically, this is the build I recommend. You can also go like lifesteal and rely on her artifact for counters. I don't like that build. I tried it. I thought it was pretty horrendous. She didn't do a whole lot of damage. Still got gibbed by like random Belian counters. But some people have used it with some success. But I preferred basically to build her similar to a Tomoka and basically delete something on the other team and then rely on the 70% evasion to survive. So I would say ignore defensive stats. Just try to get as many offensive stats as possible. And I'd say at least like 220 speed, but you might want to tune it to be behind an attack buffer. Wow, she looks really drunk here. So those are my recommendations for her build. Just try to get as much offense as possible if you're going to go my route of just trying to delete someone on the other team early. But again, you can build her like a bruiser, but she barely does any damage even on a full DPS build, so don't expect too much out of it if you do that. In terms of artifacts, I use Tagahells because what I'm trying to do in that same deletion vein is soul burn the S1 so I don't have to rely on anyone for attack buff, transition right into the S3. If you're not going to use that, if you're not going to build her that way and you're going to go for the bruiser build, then basically what you're going to want to use is this. And you're really going to want to upgrade this so you get that 30% counter chance. But because when you get evaded, you can't, when you evade, you can't be crit, this can proc every time she dodges. So 30% chance to counter. I mean, it's basically a counter set in the artifact slot. So you could put her on lifesteal, give her even more sustain. So you can go that route. Feel free to experiment it. It didn't work for me. I didn't like it very much, but again, your mileage may vary. So that's the build for this video. Let's move into the arena showcase. Alright, so let's try Milim in arena. We're going to see if she could wipe out this whole team pretty much by herself. But in general, she's not a superstar in my book in a regular arena, just because she's quite difficult to use. Ooh, this is unfortunate. So, my Milim was faster than my Mediator Cowric, but we could still deal with this Arby. Let's extinct this thing. Maybe I shouldn't have even soul burned. Then let's cleanse all this nonsense off. Now this Violet absolutely cannot hit my Milim. Let's just work on this AOL, because that little cleansing thingy will be pretty annoying. Oh, Cerise is pushing. Cannot stun my Milim. You know what, maybe we should kill Cerise first, because the other guy shouldn't really be targeting my Milim much. Oh, actually we had unbuffable, so we don't even have invasion. But boom, we have some pretty nice damage there. That speed cut screwed me over with the evasion, but that's okay. Now let's see what Milim can do to this Violet. We don't have evasion, so I don't want to hit the Violet. But we can proc the extra attack. Remember, extra attacks don't get countered. Let's see how much damage this does if it hits. She is on Symbol. 9,500, so it's not terrible, but it's not great. That's 0 damage mitigation on his team. It is a Violet. He's a decently tanky hero, but still. I think that's the main reason people don't like Milim too much. The damage just isn't all that impressive, but let's punch him in the face. 10.5k, but remember, that was just the extra attack. If you put the two together, that's still like 20k, right? Let's move on to another one. Alright, let's try another Milim chopping expedition. This time we're bringing 2 knights. Our goal is just to use nothing but Milim to kill them all. So the Politis, this is the good thing about Milim, right? She has an extinction, so yeah, there's going to be no more Politis for the rest of the game. There's no revive or anything here that we have to worry about. We just chop them down one by one. And the goal here is just to have Milim eventually blow them up, but does she do enough damage to out-heal an Amelia and a Ruel? Well, that'll be a tough one. That'll be a tough one. Conventional wisdom would say absolutely not, right? Let's split some DPS, because they have those heals. Oh, actually, that hit Ruel for a lot. My Mediator Cowric is the DPS here. We miss. Stop that, Ruel. Let's just keep working on Amelia, because she's about to do her AoE heal. But my Milim is actually right about to unleash the Dragon Buster. That's what we want, right? We want to be busting all over their faces. Giggity. Alright, let's punch Ruel, because we won't miss on her. What the heck is this Ruel? We just provoked it with our FCC. My FCC has like 16 effectiveness. Let's see the damage here. That was not terrible. That was not terrible. Hey! This is kind of working. This is kind of working. Solo Milim DPS. Let's just punch her. Oh, she got knocked out. Alright, let's weaken attack this. Oh, never mind. It's effect resistance APOC apparently. Alright, let's try to finish this off. Boom. Ooh, counter. Ow. Okay, you know what? Her damage is not bad. I mean, granted this team had no damage mitigation, so let's try another one. Alright, let's try this meta-looking defense. We picked it because there's an FCC, and we want to see against damage mitigation if she's up to snuff. So can we kill a Politis through damage mitigation? And it's just really an FCC, right? We could, but Politises are, you know, pretty squishy units, right? It's like not like a Politis is a very tanky unit, and we very barely killed it with Soulburn. That's kind of the problem with Milim, like I mentioned. Like, against a bruisery draft, it's kind of hard to get her to kill anything on a DPS build. Like, some people have tried her on, like, you know, like bruiser build with her own artifact, like counter set or lifesteal, and just try to make her a bruiser, but her base tankiness is just not there. My preference is just to use her as a Landy deleter, right? Because I feel like that's one of the few times I'm actually afraid of Milim, because my Milim, or my Landy, is actually quite squishy, so when you pick Milim, for the most part, they can just slam her and one-shot it, but anything else, you know, it's pretty hard to reliably feel like your Milim's gonna kill it, which is kind of a liability. But we'll see. We're about to unleash the Dragon Buster here in a second. So let's punch this FCC and let it loose. Boom. So it did 4,000 damage. She had a little bit of barrier left though, so it's probably more like 6k. And then this does 10,000 damage. So about 16k damage, but that was with full focus. But you gotta keep in mind, my Milim is also built speed DPS, so she probably hits a lot harder than the average Milim, so you put any kind of tanky stats on her, she hits a lot less than mine, so... you know, your mileage may vary, but she's definitely not bad. Like, damage is not bad. I don't want to say it's bad, but it's the same thing like, you don't bring Tomoka into everything, right? And Tomoka has pretty good damage, but it's just... the total combination has to be there. So really, I think Milim is really only that great if they pick a lot of grass units, or if you're really trying to deal with stealth, because against stealth units, you know, that's where she really shines, right? Can we knock out this 8 pockets at full HP with no damage mitigation? Like, probably not. That's with a Soul Burn, too. So with Soul Burn, attack buff, S1 into S3, we could not kill an APOC Ravi with no damage mitigation. Now, granted, this is a weird APOC Ravi. It has 26,000 HP, but still. Just trying to get you guys a sense of what to really expect from damage. Like, it's still alive. Annoying me. Alright, well, we could Dragon Bust now. Alright. Can we wipe out this Violet? 10,500. That's actually pretty solid. Alright. Let's do one more. Alright, so for our final battle, let's bring her against what she was meant to deal with, Landy. And honestly, Cerise's, I mean, they're on Guiding Light too, but she's fire, but... oh, this is horrible. Look at this. She resisted the decreased speed, so again, she goes before Mediator character. Alright, well, let's just scope this out. So, this team has 0 damage mitigation. I have a very offensive built Milim. Without Soulburn, what could we do to a Landy? Yeah, that's ultimately the main problem with Milim. You really need the Soulburn to be able to kill any not horrendously built Landy. Oh, maybe this is a mistake here, because now we're going to give Landy the ultimate turn. Well, at least she can't hit Milim. Oh, the rest of my team's going to get a nice shellac in here. But yeah, like, as you can see, that damage wasn't particularly awe-inspiring, right? Like, it was okay. Let's just bop this. Okay. The line goes... so yeah, like, or, I mean, if the Mediator Cowric went before the Milim did, we still would have deleted the Landy, right? But so I think you have to tune her in a way, like you can't use her like Tomoka, right? Because there's Blind in the game now, like unless you can pre-ban Blind. If you pre-ban Blind, you could probably get away with it, but are you really going to pre-ban a unit just to try and get Milim through? I mean, Milim is not like the most meta unit out there, so it's not really worth it. But yeah, with Blind on the board and having those souls, you definitely need a different attack buffer. Otherwise, you're potentially in big trouble. Because without attack buff, that S3 is not killing anything, I can guarantee you that much. Alright, well I mean this one's pretty much a wrap, so I think we can end this video here. There's pretty much a 0% chance we're going to lose. We'll just wipe out this Blind and then we'll move on to the summary. So, punch! Alright, let's move on. Alright my friends, so we're going to wrap this video up like we wrap up every Squirrely Hero review. Milim, is she good? Sorta. The answer is sorta. So, we'll go into the ratings, but she's a good thing to have in your kit. There's a lot of situations where she perfectly slots into the team and makes the other guy sweat. But there's also a lot of situations where she's not viable at all, and also, like a lot of evasion heroes, she has the tendency to just fall over and die, especially if you have her on kind of a fast deletion build like I do. But anyways, let's get into the ratings. So arena offense, it's weird. In general, I'm going to give her like a C, but if you guys watched a video a while back, I ran a Rage set Milim. That was actually pretty solid, but the thing is it doesn't work against any Belian teams, and Belians are everywhere. But the Rage set Milim did work very well on arena offense if there's no Belian, but that's a hell of a condition because Belian's everywhere. So overall, I'm going to give her like a B-, but there's a lot better arena offense heroes than this. Arena defense, easy F, completely useless, don't do it. Guild Wars offense, I'm going to give her an A-. I actually used her on arena offense a few times. If they have a Landy or something, she actually works quite well in her role, right? Just delete the Landy and you win. Especially like teams like Ruel, Knight, Landy, where they rely on Landy to do everything. That's an auto win if you have Milim. But those teams aren't really all that common. So, she's fine in Guild Wars offense. Guild Wars defense, I'll give her like a C-. Like, you might be able to trick some people. Remember, she can't soul burn on defense. Right away, she's going to blast her S3. I think on arena defense, you might actually want to put her on her artifact on like a lifesteal build and try to troll people. But overall, not that good in Guild Wars defense. I'm actually inclined to give her an F, but we'll just give her a C-. RTA, the most important thing. What do I think of Milim? I think a B. I think a B is a fair size. She's definitely not a top tier unit, definitely not a contested unit, but she's definitely also not a bad unit, because there are some units where you can just straight up say, like, no one's going to draft this, it's useless. She's not one of them. Like, you draft, like, Landy, Milim is definitely something that may pop up. The main problem for her is she struggles against stuff like Belian and stuff and Rem, but because of her ability to hit, she actually isn't affected by elemental advantage or disadvantage as much as other heroes. So even against Rems, you do have a better chance of hitting a Rem than missing, so you can flip that coin and just try and blast Rems too. So as long as Belian's not on the board, and you don't have too much damage mitigation, you can slam people. But the thing is, you need to make sure there's no damage mitigation. So granted, her S3 gets rid of Aureus, she still struggles to kill people, especially if they have an adamant or something. Like, I've had a lot of times where they just don't die. Maybe because my Milim needs even more offensive stats. Again, there's a lot of room for improvement in her gear, but I think that's the reason she's not that popular overall. She's fine against Landy, but, a lot of times, like, you really need her to kill something, and she just doesn't. And yeah, the Dragon Buster hurts, but that doesn't really happen until turn 3. So you have a few turns where she's just punching people, and granted, her S1 punch actually does pretty good damage, but if she just falls over to a Belian counter that strips her evasion or something, like, you're just screwed. So overall, she's a good thing to have in the kit, But if you have like an underdeveloped kit, there's probably other things that you can build out before her. But for like seasoned RTA players, will having this as an option help you in some matches? 100% it will. I've drafted her, I've used her, but she's just not the kind of hero you're going to see in like more than I'd say 20% of matches at best. But in that 20% where she's relevant, she's quite strong. So anyways, that's my summary of Milim. Let me know if you have any questions or if I screwed anything up. If you have any build ideas, again, I don't take it personally. As long as I agree with you and I think I missed something, I'll upvote it to the top. I'll heart it because you know what? It's all about education here. So anyways, make sure you like and sub and whatever to learn more about Epic 7 and heroes and crap. Until next time, peace out, boys.